Hello, doctor. How are you doing?
Good, Ranjita. I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
So, doctor, in India, COVID-19 has led to a surge in cases of a potentially fatal infection called mucormycosis, or commonly known as the black fungus. But I still think we, the common people, still lack necessary information required to be preventive about it. So, I have listed down few questions regarding the same. So, can I start with the doctor?
Absolutely, Ranjita.
Right. First of all, doctor, what is mucormycosis or the black fungus?
See, basically, mucormycosis is a fungus which is generally not very common, right? So it is generally seen in areas where it is available in the soil and in those areas like malls and all those things. So basically, it's a fungus and it's called as mucormycosis. So that is the whole thing. And whenever our capacity of fighting goes down, this flares up. So this is not a very common entity, but it's a very deadly fungus which can create a multi-organ problems and can create a lot of havoc in life.
Okay. So, doctor, what are the symptoms to look out for black fungus?
Okay, so before we go ahead with this, I would like to classify this mucormycosis, how it comes and what are the organs it affects, right? So primarily it affects about 4 to 5 organs. It goes in the form of an inhalation of the spores, and it affects the sinuses, then it affects the brain, it affects the eyes, it affects the nose, it affects the lungs, it affects the skin,
Okay.
and there is an entity which wherein it also gets disseminated to or the whole over body, and it can produce something called as disseminated infections. That means all the other major organs can get infected. So this is how it moves across. So each area has been divided into various signs and symptoms. Okay, so starting with the sinuses, because when we inhale these pores, the first line of attack is in the sinuses. So you will have fever, you will have running nose, you will have swelling over the sinus areas, and then you will have some people even have blackish discoloration of that particular area, and you'll have a lot of pain.
Okay.
This is the which happens when a sinus is infected. Along with it, some people can even have loss of skin in that particular area when the skin is getting involved. Okay, slowly from there it goes into the eyes, and when it goes into the eye is a very small area and it is not having too much of movement actually. So when the fungus starts growing, it pushes the eye in front and causes a swelling of the eyeball. So that leads to closure of the eye, and the person is not able to open the eyes, and they'll have a very bad swelling, right? From there, it goes into the brain and it can go into something called as cavernous sinus, and it can create thrombosis, it can invade the brain and tissue, so on and so forth. So this is the third entity. Then from there, it can also involve the palate, that is the upper part of the mouth, and it will start eating away those areas, and you will have difficulty in opening the mouth also because of the virus being the fungus being available there. So these are the basic ones. From there, it can go into the lungs. And when it goes into the lung, it can cause breathing difficulties. It can produce hemoptysis, that is, blood in when we cough out. So these are the things it can produce. And the patient will come to the hospital with breathing difficulties, which can otherwise get confused with your regular pneumonias and can really get you into a more bigger trouble when otherwise thought of.
Okay. So, this it can cause permanent damage. As you, is there a chance of that it can
Absolutely.
cause permanent
If
damage?
not identified early and if not treated well, it can definitely produce a lot of problem, and we can have life-threatening disease, and a patient can even die because it's a very difficult fungus to treat and can really produce a lot of problems.
So, are only the post or the COVID-19 patients susceptible to it, doctor? Because we've heard about this in this COVID times, right? So, are they only susceptible to it?
Okay, coming to this is a very good question. Actually, this can affect anybody on this earth. All right, it's not only because it's post-COVID. It can affect anybody whose immune capacity is low and they can develop it. We've had a lot of patients who've had cancers, and those patients, their fighting capacity is poor because we are using very toxic medications. So these patients can definitely develop mucormycosis. So now, since we have started to seeing a lot of COVID patients, this has suddenly sprung up, and because we using a lot of immunosuppressants to suppress the virus and fight against it. So for an example, your remdesivir is used, your steroids are used. So having these particular thing in place, a lot of patients can have immunosuppression, and there is a flare of this particular fungal area. So this is the reason why we are seeing post-COVID a lot of people having mucormycosis, which otherwise would not. Uh, we would not have seen so much.
Right. I mean, actually speaking, it is at this time only we have heard. I mean, in most of the case or in majority. So,
Right.
is it a transmittable disease, doctor?
Generally, it does not spread like how COVID spreads, but yes, it can. I mean, once you inhale the spores, it will get spread. So it is not a transmissible disease, but still to some extent it can move when you inhale the spores from your containers or your oxygen machine where you have connected it with humidity is available, so it can get moved from there.
So, and what are the treatments given, for these fungus? I mean, to treat that fungus.
Okay, so again, coming back to the way I had classified it before, the minute the sinus is involved or the nasal area is involved, we will have to make sure that the nasal area, the whole debridement of the fungus and everything is removed. So surgical intervention is going to play a major role when the sinuses are involved. Okay, minute the eye is involved, then in that scenario, in many times the eye maybe have to be removed. And if the brain is involved, again, in that situation also, some amount of requirement of surgical intervention will be needed. In addition to this, medical line of treatment is going to play a very vital role. We have to combine the surgery as well as medical both put together. Only then the treatment will be comfortable. Complete. So we have about 3 to 4 medications which I use. And you would have seen a lot of times this amphotericin B. You must have suddenly heard about this amphotericin B getting so popular and then it going under the control of the drug controller, because the supply and the demand versus the supply was a mismatch. And this is one of the drug which is used for treating this mucormycosis. In addition, there are 2 or 3 other drugs which are also been used. One is called as posaconazole and the other one is called as isavuconazole. So both these are also antifungals and they are also used in this particular treatment. Every person has to be treated with these 2 other drugs for at least 7 to 10 days. And with amphotericin B, there is a treatment which is required for at least 3 weeks. So the burden of the disease is very big and all of them have to be treated with this. There's no other way out of this.
So, after treatment, is there a chance that it can recur again, to the patients?
Again, it all depends on how aggressive the team is managing this whole thing, because sometimes it can spread from one sinus to the other sinus and it can involve the other side. So if the debridement is done thoroughly and if the treatment has been activated immediately, then I think the recurrence chances is less. And the most important aspect in this is the identification of this particular disease. Element of suspicion has to always be in mind, considering that this is a very dangerous disease. Any person who's COVID and having any of these running nose and swelling in the face and all that, immediately you need to think about these particular mucormycosis, get the investigations done, and then put them on the line of therapy. The earlier you detect it and the earlier you start treating, the better the recovery chances.
Again, doctor, my question is, going towards the same. When should a person, reach out to the doctor, to avoid the mucormycosis?
See, it's a very difficult question to answer because it all depends on the signs and symptoms. So I have clearly mentioned classifying the disease spectrum area. So if you have any of these symptoms, reach out to the doctor as quickly as possible. So if you have a swelling which has just suddenly come up, which is not available or not at all there, and it has developed again, so I think you need to immediately act on it and reach out to your doctor and talk to him about this, especially if you are post-COVID recovered, because you have a very high possibility that you may have it. So having said this, element of suspicion has to be very high and has to be treated as soon as possible.
So what about, doctor, I've heard, these people with comorbidities like diabetes, and other similar things, they are also susceptible. Is that, even though they do not have COVID, is there a chances in that case?
See, it all again depends on diabetes. What is the duration of diabetes? No doubt a person having diabetes is having a little immune depression, but it does not mean that a person who's having diabetic is definitely going to get it. That's not the case. So a person who has diabetes and has received these immune modulators or immune drugs, immune suppressant drugs, that population is at a higher risk of developing this mucormycosis when compared to a diabetic person who is not having any of these things. That is one. Number two, again in diabetics, if your diabetes is very well controlled, then you developing this mucormycosis is a little less likely. I don't say it is not, it may not happen, but it is less likely. So if I weigh an average of about 100 patients, you getting up of mucormycosis with good control of diabetes is more than 80% unlikely that you get it. So 10-20% possibility is there, but you can't say which person is going to get it and which person is not going to get it.
Right, doctor. So the last question: what are the precautions, to be taken to protect oneself from black fungus?
As such, there is no much of precautions. Most importantly is that in case if you're COVID positive, make sure that that you're having the medication what is given to the hospitals. They are definitely going to give it to you, but you have to keep a very close watch on the signs and symptoms. That's the most important one. If you're using oxygen, insist the hospital team to clear up the whole container. The humidifier has to be washed thoroughly before use. Number three, use a fresh set when you're using an oxygen port. Number four, as much as possible, avoid steroid as well as the remdesivir anyway has been out of WHO protocol. So if we can avoid remdesivir, it's a big boon. Fifth, immune system has to be good. So we'll have to do our daily activities, your yogas and your other aspects, which will increase your immune capacity and help to fight against this particular fungal area. So this is all what I can tell about. Of course, the medication, once you're diagnosed early, then you're going to be treated. So point number 6, if you keep in mind, if you have any of the symptoms, make sure that you're diagnosed early so that you can get yourself treated.
Right. Thank you so much, Doctor. This was really helpful. And I'm sure patients with any of these symptoms will reach out to Santosh Hospital, to you, and get the right treatment at the right time. Thank you so much.
So Ranjit, I would like to tell you, we have a very good dedicated team which is working specifically on mucormycosis. It's a multi-speciality team approach. So we have a maxillofacial surgeon available. We have an ENT surgeon. We have a nephrologist. We have physicians, intensivists around the clock, wherein we are treating a lot of mucormycosis cases, and we've been able to give a good amount of results. So so this has been our team and approach. So let's see what happens after this particular thing.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anjita.
Thank you, Doctor.